Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Ask Mush. I think that's what I'm going to be calling this series. But before I get started with this video, I just want to say that a lot of you guys on my previous video where I asked you guys to ask me your questions, a lot of you guys ask questions like which graphics card is better, this or that, which CPU is better, this or that, does this CPU fit with this motherboard? Please don't ask questions like that or send me your entire build, because I can't really just answer questions like that on a video like this, because I'm only covering 4 questions, and those questions that you're sending me, either I've already covered them in a previous video, or they're very specific to just you and only you would care about them. That sounds kind of douchey, but that's just the way it is, and I really can't answer them. I also get a lot of PMs like that, so if you guys don't get a response from PMs, it's because I get so many PMs and I can't read through all of them. I mean, I only have a certain amount of time in a day. So yeah, with that being said, also for next week's episode, or whenever I do another episode, leave your questions down below. Just, follow those guidelines, make them a little thoughtful, make them a little interesting. I mean, they can be about PCs, just make them something that people actually care about. Yeah, just don't send me your entire build or which graphics card is better, because I have a series called Best Graphics Card for the Money and Best CPUs for the Money for a reason. So with that being said, let's get into it with the first question. The first question comes from The Psycho. He asks, how important are things like gaming mice-keyboards, and how much should I spend on them? Now, I really like this question because I was actually in a similar situation where I wanted to get a decent keyboard and mice, not because I necessarily wanted to, but my friends kept getting on my ass because I had this shitty-ass keyboard and a shitty-ass mice. So I was like, fine, I'll finally get a Razer Black Widow and a Razer Naga. That altogether cost about $200, so yeah, that's pretty pricey. And I'll tell you guys right now, for the games that I play, games like Battlefield 3, I somewhat play that. Call of Duty, Skyrim, Devil May Cry, Crysis, games like that, I really haven't noticed a difference with these. Now, the mice I got has a lot of macro keys, so that's probably really good for MMOs, which I really don't tend to play. So, it really depends what games you're going to play. Honestly, if you're just playing games like what I said, Battlefield, Crysis, Call of Duty, Skyrim, big blockbuster titles, not MMOs, I don't really see the benefit of getting keyboard and mice unless you have the disposable income to get one, because, they are kind of cool to have, but they should really be secondary compared to your entire build, because they really don't add much to it. I mean, it's nice to have one, but considering the you're paying a pretty penny for these, so I mean, spend most of your money on the build. Make sure you get a solid, rock solid build, and then worry about the accessories, because keyboard and mice should really be secondary, if not tertiary, after the monitor. Okay, Dundaman, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, asks, is it really hard to switch from console to PC? Do you have to be updating everything every time often, like graphics card drivers or something like that? Well, that's a convoluted question. Basically, I'm just going to try to translate it, and I think he's asking, is the switch from, say, a PS3 or an Xbox or whatever console you play, I mean, if you play a Wii U, if you're one of those two people, but is the transition to a PC something hard to get used to? Well, from a building aspect, if you're just used to a console, I mean, yeah, it is a pretty big jump because you have to build this PC. What I have to say is research. Look at videos, look at forums, just make sure you're doing everything right, make sure all your parts are compatible and whatnot, and make sure you just take your time building it, because if you take your time, nothing will really go wrong, and it's pretty easy to get adjusted. Now, he also asked about things like graphics card drivers and software and whatnot. Well, that's not really too big of an adjustment. People like to make it seem like it's really big. Things like drivers are really easy to get used to. I mean, you just download a software every couple of days, maybe every week, and you just restart your computer and that's it. It's really not something that hard to do. The only thing I think people really do have to get used to is looking for fixes for some games, because a lot of games are ported really poorly, and there's fixes online, so you guys got to get used to, at, certain times, maybe 15% of the times you buy a game and you pop it in, it won't work right away, or have really crappy frame rates, or start crashing for whatever reason. Just look online. Chances are there's a fix, and chances are the problem is, something everyone's having. I remember when I picked up Tomb Raider, that a huge problem was that if you had tessellation on, it would just start randomly crashing on NVIDIA cards. No one knew that, but if you looked up for a fix, you can easily find that out. So just things like that you have to get used to, but it's not really too bad like people make it out to be. I mean, there are some annoying things, but trust me, the positives outweigh the negative when it comes to PC, and it's few flaws. Okay, the next question comes from Daniel Satur. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Probably butchered the hell out of it, but he asks, I'm getting an AMD A10 5800K, and I'm gonna overclock it with a Hyper 212 Evo. When I buy a discrete GPU, will the 5800K bottleneck it? Well, the thing is, he wants to get a mid-range Radeon 9000 series graphics card when those release. And I get this question a lot, that people want to get this APU and then get this high-end graphics card. You don't really have to do that, because the thing with the APU is you can crossfire it with a lower-end graphics card. Like, okay, if you have a 5800K, you can I believe you can crossfire it with a 6670, and you can get some pretty high-end performance. Like, you can run games like Battlefield 3 at 1080p at medium settings. So that's probably the better option I'd honestly go with when you buy an A10 or an APU series CPU at all. I wouldn't really recommend getting something really high-end like a 7970 or what he's saying, a mid-range AMD 9000 series card, because yeah, those will probably be bottlenecked by a decent bit. Alright, and the final question, different from all the PC questions, someone asked, do you prefer Attack on Titan to be as hectic as it was in the first 12 episodes, or do you like where it's headed with its light humor in episode 15? Well, I actually kind of like the transition into this, because you can't really have action all the time, because then you're going to tell the whole story way too quickly. It's sometimes nice to slow it down and actually tell a story, develop characters, and, you know, do things like that, and that actually helps the story moving forward, because you actually care about these characters somewhat. So I actually like the direction that Attack on Titan is taking. Great show. If you guys haven't seen it, go on crunchyroll.com and check it out. Absolutely awesome show, and it's like the only anime I actually watch. I mean, it's not even like anime, it actually has a lot of like American influences, so even if you're not into anime, like my one friend, he hates anime, like he hates it with a passion, but he watched it and he loves it. So yeah, make sure you check out Attack on Titan, and yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys. Leave your questions for, you know, whenever I do the next episode of this series, and yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Peace!